Hi guys, this is Harshit Agrawal. Thanks for tuning into AI Probably. And first of all, if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, please subscribe the channel and please press the bell icon to get the latest updates. The series which we are currently going through is the Data Science and Machine Learning series. And the topics for today's module, sorry, and the topics for today's module is data visualization. We'll be learning about what is data visualization, why is it so important, and what all data visualization tools are there. And then we'll be learning about one tool in particular, which is Plotly. We'll be knowing how to install Plotly and how to create some cool basic graphs with it, such as bar graphs, histograms, scatter plots, multiplots, multi-line plots, box plots, violin plots, pie charts, and some others. So after after completing this module, you guys will be able to understand what data visualization is, why is it important to perform data visualization in data science and machine learning. You'll be knowing what are the different methods or different tools to perform data visualization. Then you will be learning in depth about Plotly and how to create the most basic and most used graphs in data science using Plotly. So let's get started with the module and the first topic, which is data visualization. Visual memory of humans is far better than theoretical memory. Like we can remember the things better if we see them rather if we read them. Same goes for movies. When you see a movie, even if you have seen that movie 2 or 3 years ago, you'll be remembering the details of it. But the same does not follow for the book which you read 2 years ago. The same thing happens in data science also. Not only remembering, but also the analyzation or the analyzing power, enhances. You can tell difference between data, or you can find patterns comparatively easier in visualization rather than analyzing the values in numeric formats. Data visualization is the graphical representation of information and data by using visual elements like charts, graphs, and maps. Data visualization tools provide an accessible way to see and understand trends, outliers, and patterns in data. So here you can see a few types of graphs which we have, or the data visualization techniques which we have. Here we have a 3D scatter plot, then we have box plots, line plots, and others. So why is data visualization important? In nowadays, there is no field which is not leveraging the power of data, and almost every field nowadays, almost every STEM, which is science, technical, engineering, and medical fields, all are getting benefited with the understanding of the data more and more. And it is also said that the more data we have, the more power we have in this today's world. So if you want to leverage the information, or if you want to leverage the data which you have with you in a more efficient way, in more powerful way, and in more expressive way, you have to do data visualization, because the better you can convey your points visually, whether in a dashboard or a slide deck, the better you can leverage that information. I hope most of you have seen this kind of graph somewhere. Like if you guys have a GitHub account and you guys like see your commits there, the GitHub account also shows you a similar kind of graph. You can understand from this particular visualization that okay, so these blue points, wherever it is, I had committed more and more projects, or I have done more commits in my GitHub repo. But in the light green areas, my number of commits was very less. So now that you have a visualization of the data, it is very important for you to know, okay, in year 2014 I was doing pretty great. In year 2011 I was also then also you were doing pretty great, but in year 2009 your performance was not very good. Although this particular graph is not from a GitHub repo, I'm just telling you an example that GitHub repository also has same kind of graphs. So if you would be going through the data, or if you would be going through the numbers, that how many commits have you done in 2009, 2008, 2007, or even the days in 2009, like on 9th July 2009 you did these many commits or not. So it would become a really hectic task for you, and you won't be able to infer much information about your repo. But using visualizations like these, you are and you will be able to infer more and more about the data quickly. So let's see what all data visualization tools we have. We'll be discussing about only one tool in particular, which is Plotly, which is used in industry nowadays heavily, and you know, uh, that's why we chose to discuss about this in the module. We have other data visualization tools like Tableau, D3, Microsoft Power BI, eCharts, HighCharts, and lots of more. All these tools provide very good facilities and very powerful functions and interfaces to create cool visualizations. But for today's module, we'll be focusing on the Plotly. So Plotly, let's first have a quick introduction about Plotly, what Plotly is, and who introduced it. So one of the most popular and most used data visualization tool, Plotly, was founded in 2012 by Alex Johnson, Jack Palmer, Chris Palmer, and Matthew Sunkist. So Plotly helps organizations and individuals also to close the gap between the data science and the rest of the organization. It helps us to make cool, visualize data visualizations, and the most important thing, or the feature which I most like about Plotly is the interactive charts. Uh, if you guys have been doing some data visualization using MATLAB or even Matplotlib, you guys would be knowing those particular graphs look kind of boring, and they are not interactive. But in Plotly, we do have something known as interactive graphs. So we can interact with these graphs. We can zoom them, we can move these graphs, and we can see or infer more from these interactive graphs as compared to the static graphs which are provided by Matplotlib. So Plotly has different products such as Dash, Chart Studio, Plotly Apps, Plotly.js, Plotly Enterprise. If you guys want to know more, you can just go to the website plot.ly. So let's see how we can install Plotly. It is a simple pip command, pip install Plotly, and you can just enter the version name you want. So here is an example of what I was telling you earlier. This is an example of an interactive graph. So here we can see that it is a time series. Here we can see that as the cursor moves from 1952 to 2007, the data changes correspondingly. So it shows the value of 1952. Then if we change the cursor to 1977, it shows that value, and like that. So we can interact with the graph like this. You can also install Plotly using Conda. The command for that is conda install -c plotly version. So now let's jump into some basic visualization graphs. The first one which we are choosing is bar graphs. I hope you guys are all aware of what bar graphs is, and like it is one of the most basic yet really powerful data visualization element. In bar graphs, we have two variables, one of which represents the x-axis and the other represents y-axis. On the x-axis, we have categorical data or the discrete, yeah, sorry. On the x-axis, we have the categorical variable, and the numerical values of these categorical variables is represented on the y-axis. So in this particular example, we have like temperature, then we have suppose this is a temperature, this is temperature in London. Then we have here like it may be San Diego or California or LA, or this may be India also. So we have different ranges of temperature in different states. So let's see how we can create interactive bar graphs in Plotly. All right, so here we are. Let's first install, or sorry. So since I'm using Google Colab, I do not need to install Plotly explicitly as it is already installed. But if you're using Jupyter Notebook or your offline IDE, then you need to first install Plotly using the command which I showed you in the slides. So let's import the libraries. So I'm importing plotly.offline as pyo, then I'm importing pandas, matplotlib, and plotly.graphObjects as go. So here we'll be using a real data set and not just any dummy data set. We'll be using the Airbnb prices.csv data set. So here we can see that the data has 18,723 rows and 20 columns. So the data looks like this. It has room ID, survey ID, host ID, room type, country, city, borrow, neighborhood, reviews, overall satisfaction, accommodates, bedroom, bathroom price. So we'll be focusing about more on reviews, overall satisfaction, and number of accommodates and price. Sorry. So let me first tell you why I think Plotly is good and why the interactive graphs are good. So here I'm plotting the data accommodates, like how many people are coming to the hotel. So I am using Matplotlib here, and I got a graph. Okay, it's fine, but I cannot infer much from this. It looks so congested here. So then I tried to plot the same thing with Plotly. So to plot with Plotly, we have to define something known as figure. So we use Go, which is graphic objects, plotly.graphic objects, which I imported as Go, go.figure. Then inside it, we have to define the data first. So in the figure, the data is we have to create a bar graph. Okay, so go dot bar, and it has two attributes, which is x and y. It has many more attributes, but we'll be like, since we are constructing a simple bar plot, first we'll be seeing the simple things. So on the x-axis, I'll be having data dot index, and on the y-axis, I'll be having data dot accommodates. Okay, then we just have to enter figure dot show, and it will show. So now you cannot see anything, right? But if I zoom into this curve, we can see that the values are there. It is the same graph as here, but it is more interactive. We can see the values here. So this is 5516. So on the index number 55, the number of accommodates were 16, so 16 people accommodated in the hotel. Okay, so like this, these are the cool things which you can do. You can use this pan option here to move the graph, and you can see. Therefore, you can infer more. If you can interact with the graph, you can definitely infer even more. So now let's see what else you can do using bar graphs. So if you want to plot group bar graphs, you can do that using the same thing. In the data, you have to go like go dot bar. You have to define the first bar graph. Now I'm plotting satisfaction with number of accommodates. So let me see if the number of accommodates affect the satisfaction level or not. So here we'll be plotting group bar graph. I'll tell you in a moment what this actually is. All right, let me zoom it a little bit more. Okay, so now we can see, so this is known as group bar graph, in which a single data point has the value for both the graphs. Like so, the red point shows the accommodates, as we can see here, and the blue lines represent blue bars represents the satisfaction value. So let's see here. So this is 39 and 4.5, and this is 39.4. So when okay, on the 39th index, the satisfaction level which was given by the customers was 4.5, and the total number of accommodates were 4. So using this, we can infer that if the number of accommodates is greater, then the satisfaction level is comparatively very low. But if the number of accommodates is somewhere around 4 to 5, then the satisfaction level is comparatively great. So then we can again plot the same thing using something called a stack graph. So here you can a stack graph is also a same graph, same kind of bar graph as a group bar graph is, but it is a little different in the looks. Wait, so all right, so like this here you can see. So now in the group bar graph we had these blue and the red lines corresponding to each other, where 81 and on the index 81 we have both the red and the blue bar separately. Here these are stacked one on other. So on the 16th index satisfaction is 4 and the number of accommodates is 1. On the 17th index the satisfaction is 4, number of accommodates is 2, like that. So this is the stack bar graph on which one value is stacked on the top of other. So, but you would be thinking that in the presentation or in the tutorial, in the slides, I told you that the x-axis represents a categorical variable, but I am always printing this index here, which is not categorical, of course. So it was just because of showing you how the things work and how you can plot different kind of bar graphs, different kind of how you can play with the attributes here, providing the layouts and all. So for a typical bar graph, what we are doing now right now is we have an attribute named as room type in the original data. So we'll be calculating the average number of accommodates which stay in each of the room types. So using the pivot table function, we are calculating the average of the accommodates, which stay in the entire home, or which stay in the private room, and which stay in the shared room. Then we plot a simple bar graph for the same. The next graph which we have is a histogram. So in a histogram is almost same as bar graph, but instead of discrete values, it has, or it is drawn on continuous values. Yeah, so a histogram is an approximate representation of the distribution of numerical data, which is continuous, of course. Unlike bar graphs, we also have numerical values on both the axes, on the x and the y axis as well. And these values are considered as continuous. Also in bar graph, we do not have discrete values like in previous in bar graph tutorial. We saw that the index value was discrete. It was like 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, but in histograms we have a concept of ranges. So while creating a histogram, I'll be having ranges. So taking the index example only, or let's say if we have price on the x-axis and we have satisfaction on the y-axis, so we can divide the price group in ranges like 0 to 50. Then we have another range as 50 to 100, and so on. So what we can do is we can find the average rating or average satisfaction given by the users in which paid a price of 0 to 50, and then we can have the same average value for a value of 50 to 100. So this kind of, so here we have always frequency. There is always frequency on the y-axis, which tells the number of the which tells the number which is there in the range, right? So let's see how we can actually create a histogram.